wonderful and beautiful night. My name is El-Roi, episode 2 by Precious Obialor-Ukazim. The coming of El-Roi strengthened the faith of Mrs. Elizabeth and her husband, Mr. Samuel King, and they increased their commitment and love for God, the church, and humanity. They single-handedly funded missionary works and gave themselves and all they had wholly to God and to his kingdom. She discipled and raised many spiritual daughters and sons for the Lord, same with her husband. When she clocked 50 years old, his son, El-Roi, also turned 12 years, and as it was in her practice during his birthday, she planned to celebrate his 12th birthday in a big way. But the Lord said to her on the day before his 12th birthday, go to the orphanage home and celebrate your son's birthday there with the orphaned children. This she did with all gladness of heart, loaded the car with lots of goodies, cakes, and drinks, and went to one of the orphanage home as directed. And there she met with the management and explained to them how God had directed her to that particular orphanage home to come and celebrate her son's 12th birthday. And the management welcomed her with open hearts. While the celebration was going on, a crippled little boy of about 12 years of age, who is also one of the children in the orphanage home, came, crawling and dragging his legs to enable him walk fast. And immediately Mrs. Elizabeth's eyes caught him. She heard God's voice instantly saying, "Adopt him." She heard and was horrified at such a thought or instruction. "Adopt a child with disability?" she asked, feeling appalled. What for? She was wondering, then paused and thought within herself, well, maybe God just wants to use me to help the boy to experience the love of God. If not, why would he tell me to adopt a child, not even a normal child, but one with disability? She kept pondering over it so much that her attention was divided throughout the party. She made a few inquiries from the staff and at the orphanage about the boy and the processes involved in child adoption, then told them that she would love to adopt the disabled child, but would have to first go back home and discuss it with her husband and get his approval before doing so. And with that, she went home that day. After discussing it with her husband, he gave his full support. In fact, he followed her to the orphanage home to follow up the processes of the adoption. And when they had settled everything, they brought the boy home, and the boy's name was Benjamin. That night, in their sleep, a man in white appeared to her and her husband in their dreams separately and instructed them to name the adopted child El-Roi Samuel. She woke up from the dream feeling agitated and would not accept the idea of naming the adopted child the same name her biological child bears. Though she had great plans for the boy and had proposed to give him equal treatment with El-Roi, she didn't think it's right for the both of them to bear the same name. That would be very confusing. How can both of them bear the same name? How are we going to differentiate which when calling them? Even twins don't bear the same name, and this is certainly not God. I guess I have symptoms of malaria and I'm beginning to dream too much these days, she told herself, then went back to bed, but couldn't take her mind away from the dream because the instruction was so straight and clear. She kept the dream away from her husband, and her husband, on the other hand, too, woke up in the morning and was meditating on the dream he had and what manner of instruction it was. He couldn't share the dream with his wife immediately because he wanted to get a better understanding of the dream. And praying about it, he asked the same question his wife had asked. But Lord, our son is already bearing that same name. How do we differentiate them when we call unto one? Won't the other be confused, thinking we are calling him as well? He asked the Lord in prayers meditatively. Your son whom your wife bore you was named El-Roi Kings, Samuel. But this your son is to be called El-Roi Samuel. The Lord made a difference clear to him. He breathed down heavily as that explanation sank deep into his spirit. Oh Lord, this is going to be a very hard one for my wife to accept, knowing how much she cherished that name for our son. He was still talking, and the Lord rebuked him. Elroy Samuel is also your son. His voice sounded very stern, and Mr. Samuel became afraid. I'm sorry, Lord, forgive me, he said, his heart pounding in fear. But please, Lord, help me also by going ahead of me to speak to the heart of your daughter, my wife, and cause her to accept it when I shall present it before her. Mr. Samuel prayed, but didn't hear anything again. However, he had peace in his heart that God would go ahead of him to speak to his wife's heart, because that has been the way God deals with the both of them when it comes to very important issues. This is really hard. Like, it's hard even for me. I can't imagine it. Like, well, let's see what happens in the next episode. Thank you and have a wonderful day ahead. Do you like my hair tie? Is it beautiful? Bye.